Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve.
Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and I am back with another episode of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. What is happening? Happy Father's Day. This is my first Father's Day without fix my hair. Without my dad. It is very bitter to say the least, but I'm here. So I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things. I got so much to tell you. And I always start out with what I did the week before. But before I get into that, give me a big thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you were on the YouTube. And let's get this party started. So last week, what I did was, I think I told you guys when I left last week that I was going to do a reading for, what was it? We did a live stage reading of an episode 7 of season 4 of Murders in the Building. And this is a picture of all of us. So there behind me is Aisha Tyler. The one in the big blonde wig is Meatloaf. Down off center to the left is Sherry Cola. Amy Gonzalez, y'all know her from the Cheetos movie. In the middle there is Lil Rel. Next to him is Patton Oswalt. Next to him is Jason Ritter. Next to him is Perry Gilpin. Scooting down in the pink is Miss Rachel Bloom and some people from Film Independent, among others. We had a great time. It was really cool. I'd never done anything like that, and I had the best time ever. And then I went to the world premiere of Elio. Can't talk about Elio because it's currently under embargo, so I will be talking about that next week. And then I ran over to Fox 11 LA and did another segment. We talked about some Father's Day things. I did a little split review of Pee Wee Herman and talked about some places to go for Juneteenth. So if you want to see what I said and you're in the Los Angeles area and you can visit those places, you can go to my Instagram and see the full clip there, or my Facebook page and see it there. All right, so let's get into it. Father's Day is here, and one of my favorite movies when it comes to fathers is this movie right here, Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. It absolutely cracks me up. I love this movie so much. It stars Adam Sandler, Joey Lauren Adams, Jon Stewart, Rob Schneider, Leslie Mann. Who else is in this movie? Dylan and Cole Sprouse. That's Dylan and Cole Sprouse right there. When they were little teeny tiny people. Here's a better picture of them. When they were little people, look at all that blonde hair. They were so cute. And what it does is it's a film where 32-year-old Sonny, played by Adam Sandler, he has spent his whole life avoiding responsibility. He is one of them adults that just cannot get out of being a kid. But when his girlfriend Corinne, played by I forget her name, but anyway, when his girlfriend Corinne dumps him for an older man, he feels like he has got to prove that he is ready to grow up. And in a last desperate ditch effort, he adopts Sonny, this little boy right here, played by Julian and Cole Sprouse, to impress her. She's not impressed, and he can't return the kid. Oops. Oh, well, too bad, too sad for Sonny. But what happens is it gives you one of the best lessons ever. It shows you that fatherhood doesn't necessarily come in a biological package, right? To be a father, all you have to do, it's not centered around biology. It's centered around love and support. And Sonny gives Julian 5,000 miles of support, and he finds out a lot about himself. And of course, it has a happy ending. But what I will say about this film is that every time it comes on TV, I holler out loud. So again, if you guys have not checked out this film, Big Daddy, check it out. It is so freaking funny. It's also Pride Month. And so I said that I would pick a new film for Pride Month every time I come on to talk about the podcast. And the one that I picked this time is a film that I really, really, really love. It's this film called The Birdcage. And I'm going to show you a little bit about it. So, where is it? I'm trying to find my pictures, child. It's a situation. So, The Birdcage. If y'all don't know what The Birdcage is, it's this movie right here. It starred Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. And it is a film that I think I have a better picture of The Birdcage. Yeah, I do. So, it's a film that, let me just give you a little bit of history about The Birdcage. So, The Birdcage is a film adaptation of La Cage aux Folles. So, La Cage aux Folles is a musical by Jerry Herman and Harvey Fierstein, who I'm sorry, my mouth is not working with me today, who incidentally won an honorary Tony last weekend. They gave him a Lifetime Achievement Tony. Harvey Fierstein, based on a 1973 French play of the same name by Jean Perret, whatever. You know how I am with pronunciation. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't. This musical premiered on Broadway in 1983, and it tells the story of Georges, the owner of the Saint-Tropez drag nightclub, and his romantic partner, Albin, and the club star attraction. The plot thickens when their son, Jean-Michel, gets engaged to the daughter of a conservative politician, and the Georges must pretend to have a traditional family to impress the in-laws. This is what happens when it goes down in The Birdcage. So Nathan Lane is dressed up. He's trying to, let me come on camera because I just think this is so funny. He's dressing up. What is going on with my thing today? It is just not working with me. Here we go. Okay, let me find it. My camera is not working with me today. Sorry, y'all. Okay, here we go. So Nathan Lane dresses up and he is trying to pretend like he is a conservative mom so that his son's fiance's parents, played by Diane Wiest and the late Gene Hackman, won't freak out at the fact that they're in a drag club and that he's a drag queen and his father runs the drag club and all that. Child, it is the funniest movie I have ever seen. If you have never seen The Birdcage, you need to get into it and watch it. It's directed by Mike Nichols, and it is a wonderful, wonderful look back at. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to look back at for Pride Month. It also stars Callista. Let me show you that picture again. It's a young Callista Flockhart in this picture. She's now married to Harrison Ford, but she was Ally McBeal for years and years and years. And this is Nathan Lane. This is Nathan Lane doing all the things. And that's Gene Hackman. That's the back of his head. But again, y'all, it's called The Birdcage. If you get an opportunity to see this film, please do yourselves a favor and check it out, because it is literally one of the funniest things I have ever seen in my entire life. So I implore you to check that out, and to also check out my favorite Father's Day film, Big Daddy. All right. I also wanted to bring some light to this. Ananda Lewis is a Howard University graduate, as am I. And she is also a two-time NAACP award winner. And she was the host of Black Entertainment Television's Teen Summit. Ananda lost her battle with breast cancer earlier this week. There was a lot of controversy around her methods for doing breast cancer. And she took some alternative holistic methods because she watched her mother succumb to the same disease and go through all the things and do all the things right. And she still lost her mom. She tried something different. And then by the time she decided to kind of flip back into a more traditional way of dealing with it, it was too late and she lost her life. But I would not be me if I didn't do a shout out to Ananda, because I always talk about Howard University. I'm a very proud graduate of that school, and we were there together. So rest in peace, Ananda Lewis. I also wanted to talk about this man right here, Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson is one of the co-founders of the Beach Boys, and he succumbed to dementia earlier this week as well. If you are not familiar with the Beach Boys, I suggest highly watching a documentary about the Beach Boys, which is currently streaming on Disney Plus right now. I also suggest you take a look at this film, Love and Mercy, where Paul Dano is playing Brian Wilson. It is the best film ever. And I'm going to say that I didn't know that much about the Beach Boys or Brian Wilson until I worked with John Stamos. I worked with John Stamos on Broadway, and he was a huge fan and ultimately became one of their longtime drummers, sitting in with the band from time to time. So rest in peace to Brian Wilson and Ananda Lewis. Their presence on this earth will be missed, but their energy and their artistic projects will live on in infamy. All right, so let's get into it. The Materialist. This film I loved a lot because it was just the type of film that it gets into relationships, right? And it stars three of my favorite people: Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, and Pedro Pascal. I'm going to say that this is Celine Song's follow-up from last year's Past Lives that had a wonderful reception amongst critics and regular people alike when they saw it in the theater. But what I will say is that Dakota Johnson's having a moment, y'all. She is having a moment with both Splitsville, which played at Cannes earlier this year, and The Materialist. Now, The Materialist is one of these films that delves into relationships. And it delves into relationships in a way that I've never seen on screen. I've seen it on screen, but it shows these three people not being perfect people. All three of them have their issues and their faults. And usually in rom-coms or in these types of movies, it's all fluffy and light and is all wrapped up in a nice little bow at the end. Baby, this is not. And that is how Celine Song rolls. And I love her for it. Dakota Johnson has like this quiet fire sultriness that works for her in both Splitsville and The Materialist. She's so vulnerable in this film that you literally can see right through her like a pane of glass. And to accomplish that as an actor, that is everything. Chris Evans has finally moved past Captain America, and he's allowed to show some range. He's not only good looking, he's not only got the muscles, but this man can act his ass off. And it's about time we got to see him do it. I'm so there for every single solitary part of it. Plus the fact that, you know, their chemistry there, meaning him and Dakota Johnson, their chemistry is smoldering hot. And I was there for all of that. Pedro Pascal, again, somebody else coming from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is playing an insecure billionaire who lets his money speak. And he is endearingly pitiful, y'all. He's so pitiful in this movie, but you get his pain. You understand what it's like, especially me, because I'm short. I'm 5'2". So I felt his pain as somebody that's being judged over their height. I felt you, Pedro Pascal, in this movie. I really did. What I'll say is Celine Song excels in these types of films that center around trios, because in Past Lives, we had a trio situation happening there. And it makes you wonder why we fall in love, who we fall in love with, why we fall in love with the people that we fall in love with, and why we let these people sometimes let them cost us our happiness at our own peril. This film is wonderful, and Celine Song's ability to tap into the humanness of that emotion and have tongues wagging is unmatched. So if you have not gone to a theater to see Materialists, please do yourself a favor and check out the yumminess of Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, and Pedro Pascal. Now, let's get into a couple, and I'm also going to talk about, let me come back. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Tyler Perry's Straw, but I'll talk about that in between these two movies. So Bride Hard is a movie, I believe it's coming to Netflix. I can't talk about the movie because it is currently currently under embargo, but I can let the people in the movie talk about the movie. And my review of the movie will be up on RogerEbert.com later on in the week when it's closer to the embargo, when it lifts. But I did interviews with the director, Simon West, Anna Camp, Rebel Wilson, and Gigi. And I have an interview with them. So I'm going to play this interview with them. So y'all take a look and listen to Anna, Rebel, Gigi, and Simon talking about some Bride Hard, baby. Love that. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the soundtrack, because you have everything from like very sultry types of selections to like a true bop. So I wanted to know how you coordinated with your musical supervisor on the choices for the film.
Well, that's one of the fun bits. I mean, when we're editing, we just bring in hundreds of records and songs and soundtracks, and it's really fun to try different scenes with different songs and create a mood, and also, tap into what's happening at the moment, and also maybe be a bit nostalgic, so people can remember. So all age groups can have something and think, oh, I remember that song, or that's a very current thing, or this sets the tone of the film. So it's actually one of the most fun parts of the film, but then kind of frustrating because there's usually way too many and you can't get them all in, and really at some point you've got to hear the dialogue, so you can't just play the songs full volume. But it's a great part of the process that I really enjoy is the soundtrack, and it's something you look forward to. It's like, oh, I wonder what song I can put here, and some of them work, great. It's things you expect to be in a romantic scene don't work at all, and so you could put like a fast song in a romantic scene. It's very, odd what works and what doesn't, but I certainly love that part of it.
Talk to me about the scene where they're going down the chute. It looked like you probably took a couple of days to shoot that because it was in parts. How difficult is it to shoot something like that? Because it's not like it was a water slide. You know what I mean?
I had airboats, so I just came up with a crazy idea of maybe they just get sucked through the tube by the the propeller of the airboat, and so then I've got to figure out a physical way of doing that. But I'm surrounded by incredibly talented technicians, and we sit around and we work out how can we make the audience believe they're actually flying through this tube, and then you would get them to do a certain amount of it. And that's the funniest bit, is shooting Anna Camp smashing into the back of Rebel in a tube, and every take she cracks a different joke, a different ad lib. So I've got like 10 different jokes for that moment that I can't get put in the film because there's only room for one. But Rebel is making hilarious ad libs about why she's got this person riding on her back in a tube. It's so it's fun, but it's also technical. But that'll be be in the behind the scenes, things like that, I'm sure.
I was just about to ask you, is that going to be on like the blooper reel on the DVD when
I'm sure. I have so much material. I have so much material for the blooper reel and the outtakes and all the ad libs from the actors and the goofing. It's going to be a great blooper reel.
I love that, which brings me to this. Honey, that little, I don't know if it's called a shuttle, a tube, or what it was, but that little white thing that y'all was sliding down.
Oh, yeah, the tube.
Talk to me about the stunt train, the shoot. Okay, thank you. Talk to me about the stunt training that y'all needed to do that. And Anna, you had me cracking up.
Get any.
What kind of stunt training do you need to just slam into the back of her?
I didn't have any stunt training for that. They just threw me down the tube.
Yeah, she just went down the tube. I did 5 weeks of stunt training because I'm supposed to kind of know what I'm doing with the stunts. So I did 5 weeks with the people that also did the Batman, and they did Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz for that. And so they're really good at training actors, but they normally train them for months, whereas I did only do 5 weeks, which was short. For this, that poor Anna just got thrown in.
They were just like, the first day, I think there was an explosion. My first day on set, they're like, so you guys are going to stand right here, and then that's going to go by you, and then it's just going to explode. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
We just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Rebel baby. And you said you look like Ariana Grande from The Real Housewives. I hollered out loud because the vision of it was just so crystal clear. I had to say that, which brings me to this. How much of you all's lines were improv?
This movie was done in what was known as the writer's strike period. So there was no writing allowed. But what was allowed is to just be on camera and to make stuff up. So that was improvised because I couldn't have pre-thought what I was going to look like, and so I'm just looking in the mirror making I don't know, I think I made about 10 jokes about what I look like, and then that was the one that made it into the movie. But we kind of were forced to make up a lot of stuff on the day for this film because of the status of the writer's strike that was really important, and it meant no actual writing could be done. So we had to actually find some funniness on the day.
But luckily for us, like whenever jokes we make, like she picks it up and elevates it, and then I toss it back. Like we've been working together we've known each other for 14 years since the first Pitch Perfect. So there's this like shorthand that we have with our comedy, which is so fun, and it just makes it not like work when we're on set. We just have so much fun.
That is hilarious. So if this was real life and you guys were on vacation, what would be your premier destination to wreak havoc while being a spy and having a little bit of massage action happening?
Ooh, we do love a massage.
I do love a massage. I mean, I've never been to like Bali or Fiji, but I would like to go to like a tropical like place and wreak some havoc.
Fiji's great, actually. Fiji, we could get into a lot of trouble.
Great.
Fiji,
let's go to Fiji.
Fun.
Bride harder in Fiji.
Yeah, and then they have these drinks called kava, which make you feel something special.
Oh, what does it make you feel?
It's not alcohol. It's like kind of an hallucinogenic or something. That's in it.
Like an absinthe.
Yeah,
or something
it's like
that?
I don't quite know, but it's natural. But it makes you feel a little
euphoric.
Yeah,
a little loopy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, y'all were delightful. That is my time. Y'all were so funny. Y'all make me laugh out loud.
Oh, thanks. And and this movie Brideheart is honestly all it is just a laugh. Like it's just like you want to go see a fun movie set at a wedding with us being stupid. This is a movie.
This is a movie for you, and eat some popcorn in the movie theater and go with your girls.
Go out to the movies and have a girls' night for this movie.
So in this film, Zoe is this mother who is not letting her being pregnant in this situation hinder her opportunity to turn up with her girls. So what, if anything, would hinder Gigi from turning up with her girls?
I was going to say like a natural disaster, but I'm always turning up with my girls. I'm one of 3 sisters, so we're always getting ready to go.
So the film is also about friendship and what configurations and ebbs and flows that can take, right? And how friends can grow apart and then reunite. But what would it take? I think about this sometimes myself. What would it take for you to completely ice out a friend?
You want my honest answer?
I want your honest answer.
I'm working on that with myself because I've done it a lot. Because again, I'm one of 3 girls. So I think growing up, I was raised with 2 permanent best friends. So whenever a friend used to like wrong me, I would just drop them because I had 2 more at home. Like I didn't need, or like if someone lied to me, I can't get past lying. And I had, as a kid, I used to like pull in a new sister, a 4th sister. And then the second they would like lie or wrong me, I did used to like ghost my friends. So that is a new thing for myself that I'm working on. Not just like cutting people off so fast after mistakes and stuff, because I was spoiled with 2 sisters at home that like I always have someone there for me, and I never had to like work through big fights because I had my sisters. So that's my deep answer.
Girl, you and me need to start a support group because I'm that person too. I can't stand if somebody lies to me. I'm done.
I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need to put up with it. I don't. I got my family. I don't need to wonder and stress about someone that doesn't really have my back or not.
You know what I'm saying? Yes, Gigi. We here.
I ice too easily.
What do you consider to be the best qualifications for somebody to be a part of your squad, other than your sisters? Because your sisters are like a built-in squad.
They are. I think anyone that can hang. You just gotta hang. And these girls have been like genuinely real friends. I've made incredible connections with all of them. I literally just went to the Renaissance Festival with Anna and Rebel. And then in Savannah, I used to go to church with Anna Klumsky. Divine would cook homemade meals for us. So there's different outlets for everybody. It doesn't matter where, but you gotta hang. You gotta be able to hang and just be real with each other. And I think that was what made this movie so special. All these girls could hang. I see you, Carla. We are one.
Listen, I'm a real one, and so are you, Miss Gigi. That's my time. Thank you for giving me a slice of yours. You made me holler out loud. That was
oh my God. It was nice to meet you. You're so fun.
Nice to meet you too. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Baby, me and Miss Gigi, we have a situation because we would be icing people out. So when she was talking about what everybody was bringing to the table when she would hook up with the different girls in the film, I said, "You telling me what everybody else is doing? What did you contribute?" And she was like, "Yeah, I would be the one that brings the alcohol." I hollered out loud. They were a lot of fun, and I really immensely enjoyed talking to them. That is the cast and the director of What? Bride Hard. It is coming to a theater near you on June 20th. Check it out and check out my review, which will be at rogerebert.com later on in the week. Now, there's a documentary coming out, or didn't come coming out. It came out. It's called Prime Minister. I saw this documentary at the Sundance Film Festival, and it's about the New Zealand, well, the now former New Zealand Prime Minister. Prime Minister. Her name is Jacinda Ardern. And this documentary is so badass. It is directed by Michelle Walsh and Lindsay Utz, which every time I think about Lindsay Utz and her last name, I think about the potato chips, Utz potato chips, which is a brand on the East Coast, but I digress. Anywho, this documentary, it chronicles her journey to becoming prime minister and what happens once she's in that. It is produced by Magnolia Pictures, and again, it is centered around Jacinda Ardern. I had an opportunity to sit down to speak with the directors Michelle and Lindsay, and this is what they had to say. The example that y'all used of Sir Ernest Shackleton and how you tied that into Jacinda and the pandemic and how she handled it. How did you discover that person, and what was the decision to use him in the doc to kind of tie those two things together? Because I thought that that was brilliant, and I had never heard of him, but I thought it was such an excellent way to make a really huge point.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to say. Thank you.
No, it's the truth. Because I was like, I would have never looked at the doc and been like, well, oh, there's an example of someone doing this and doing it well and putting themselves above their, not putting themselves above the crew, putting their crew above themselves in order to find ways to save as many as possible. And that's what she did in the course of COVID. She put everybody else ahead of her and was like, hey, what can we do to kind of make this work out? So I just want to know, and Lindsay, you can start it off. What was the impetus or the inspiration to include that in that way?
Yeah. So we thought that she really is, she admires she admires Ernest Shackleton tremendously. I mean, he has always been an example for her of great leadership. So in order to understand where some of her motivations come from, we felt that it was a really good specific story that we could hang a lot of ideas on, right? This idea of optimism is true moral courage. That's one of his most famous lines. And that is really something that she carries within her heart. That's how she leads. That's how she thinks about the challenges of the world. She thinks that in order to persevere and to fight through all the difficulties, we have to remain optimistic. So we felt it was a very cinematic way to get those ideas across. And then we also love this idea of like history upon history upon history, right? The documentation of that Shackleton journey, which was captured by Frank Hurley, that footage is so extraordinary, and that it survived all these years and is so beautiful to look at. We just felt it conjured an emotion, and it gives you backstory in a way that is not like traditional backstory, but you understand then why she is who she is and what she believes. So we thought it was a beautiful way to kind of bring to life some of these larger themes.
I love that. Thank you for taking the time to break that down for my audience, because I got all of what you said, but
Yeah.
the people that haven't seen the film yet and don't know you guys will love hearing that from y'all, not from me.
Yeah.
I want to flip back to you, Michelle. I loved how you guys displayed the kind of double standard and sexism that happens within the political arena when it comes to women. And we see that here in America all the time. But more importantly, I loved how you guys showed her handling it with grace and dignity, despite wanting to punch these clowns in their throat.
I love that line when
Yeah.
she admits that she wanted to actually punch him in the face.
Exactly. That's what like she was like, I was like, girl, I'm with you. I'm with you.
How
But-
many of us have felt that
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Listen, I had a moment like that 2 days ago, but I digress.
Oh, I mean, we unfortunately, if you sit in a room of women, we have far too many of them that we can recount. So
I know it's ridiculous. Having said that, what do you think leadership looks like when kindness and humanity is at its core? And do you think, Michelle, since you brought up Jacinda being a mom, do you think that her being a mom actually helps with her invoking that kindness and humanity at its core?
that's such a great question. I mean, if you're coming home to a baby every day, it's hard not to really be grounded in your own humanity. You know, you're changing nappies or you say diapers.
Yeah.
Obviously having kids keeps you grounded, and it also reminds you on the daily basis what's really important, not just to yourself, but to the people that you are looking after, or who you're there to work for every day. So I do think mothers have that, but I think we also naturally have that. It's an important part of our hormonal makeup is that we care about people. And unfortunately, as leaders, we see leadership that's rewarded when it is grounded in force and othering and all of the things that we're seeing now that are so distressing. But I hope that this film really shows that you can be powerful and empathetic, and you can have resolve and do that with kindness and without, railroading or steamrolling over other people. So I just don't think we've seen enough examples of it. And they always say you have to see to be. And I hope that Jacinda shows us that you can achieve extraordinary things with empathy and humanity at the core of your decision making.
And if I could just button what you said, women just do it better. We just do it better.
I love that you just say it like that.
I am with you.
I'm like, we're really good at leading and caring about people.
Women, we always have goals. We always have things that we're trying to accomplish, whether we're making a film or not. But how many times have both of you had a goal as a filmmaker to achieve something completely different? And did you experience this while you were shooting Prime Minister? I'll start with Lindsay first.
Yeah. I mean, we set out to make a film that would touch people in a deep, deep way. And we've seen as we've taken this film out into the world now, how it is resonating with audiences. And when you're working on a movie, you're so focused on the image and the sound and the edit and the shooting and the this and the that, and you're just like, you're in the zone, right? But you have no idea how it's going to play once it's out in the world. And I mean, what an incredible joy it's been to see audiences connect with this movie at this moment in time. I don't think Michelle or I realized, I mean, we hoped it would have an impact, but it is like really touching people in a profound way, especially women. After these screenings, women come up to us and are on the verge of tears. And that, I mean, we want, I mean, that's the dream, right? That your film really resonates in that way. And we're just so thrilled that that's happening. So yeah.
In documentary making, you set out to tell a story, but you have no idea the ripples it will create or the feedback loops that come back. And we're just only starting this journey of the film coming out, and all I can say is it's hard to articulate the level of privilege it is to be associated with something that can make a difference in the world. It makes me really emotional. Like I can't, if I think about it for too long, I just am overwhelmed by, the privilege of watching people experience something that you made, of being close to a story like this, of being part of hopefully we did justice to a story that is incredibly important. We had no idea it would land like this at this time.
Like, I'm 10 toes down for y'all. I'm just saying. That's the best way I can say it. I'm 10 toes
Oh, you
down
are
for
such a
you.
joy. Thank you so much.
I'm
Yeah,
10 toes.
we love you.
I am
You're
10
the
toes down for you now and forever. I am a fan and a friend. I got you.
Oh, you're
Oh,
the best.
thank you so much. And you know what, Carla, if you ever come to New Zealand, I've got you.
Michelle's got a beautiful farm. You should go pick her up on that.
Listen, honey,
welcome.
Don't give me an invitation. I will find a plane ticket and find over there. Don't play.
Bring all your friends, your beautiful progressive friends, and we'll have a party here.
I love it.
Please tell everybody you know to buy a movie ticket. This is a tough time for documentaries.
Yeah.
So if this film does well in the theaters, that's a big win for everybody.
You already have the big win. You got it done, and it's going to be out there, and people are going to see it. Trust and believe. People are going to see it. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a
You're
great
welcome.
day.
You too. Again, you guys, that is Prime Minister. It is a documentary directed by Michelle Walsh and Lindsay Utz. It is in theaters right now. You really want to run and try to check it out. It is fantastic. Straw is streaming on Netflix right now. It is Tyler Perry's latest film, and it stars Taraji P. Henson, Tiana Taylor, and Sherry Shepherd, among others. This film is a trip because it single-handedly deals with how Black women handle the world when everything is crumbling down around them. So Taraji plays this mother who has a special needs daughter, and she literally just needs $40 to buy lunch for her daughter because her daughter gets teased at school. She goes to her job to try to get the check, and it just shenanigans ensue. But at the end of the day, what ends up happening is she ends up at the bank in a film that turns out to be like a little bit of John Q, a little bit of Dog Day Afternoon, but it's centered around a woman. And the thing that makes this film so very special is that the women dealing with Taraji's character, they have empathy. Usually when you watch these kind of films and there is a woman protagonist, the women dealing with them don't have any empathy, and they are just as hard as the men dealing with them in this situation. This is not the case. Sherry Shepherd plays the bank manager. Tiana Taylor plays a detective that is trying to de-escalate the situation to get Taraji's character to come out of the bank. When I tell you all three of these women are expressing a range in their acting that I've never seen in any of them before, and they're all fabulous actresses in one way or another. We're used to seeing, and if you don't know who Tiana Taylor is, get your life, honey. But everybody will know her from that last Tyler Perry movie. I think it's called One Big Happy Family or something, when she's like, bye, bye. That's Tiana Taylor. That Tiana Taylor and this Tiana Taylor are like two completely different people. She is doing the daggone thing. Y'all know Sherry from being a stand-up comedian, from her being that one Black girl that was on all the sitcoms for a minute. And now she is an NAACP award, Emmy award winning talk show host with a fantabulous talk show. And you know Taraji P. Henson, she's been around forever. She's a fabulous actress. She's an Oscar-nominated actress. She was nominated for an Oscar for The Curious Life of Benjamin Buttons. These three women are very strong individually, career-wise in their own right. But when they come together, they are like a tsunami that you are not ready for. It shows you what happens when life just deals you one too many cards in the gutter of life, and how you handle it or you don't handle it. Black women are so used to holding it down for everybody else that oftentimes we forget to hold it down for ourselves. I can attest to that. When my father passed away 2 months ago, I did not have the luxury of grieving because I had to take care of everybody else. And I know I am not unique in that experience of having to hold everybody else down and be the strong one. It's annoying. It's exhausting and it's unnecessary. So to see a film that addresses that and addresses all the angst and all the roller coaster of emotions that come along with that, Tyler, you outdid yourself on this one. Y'all know I'm a Tyler Perry fan. I have worked for the man, and I know what his work ethic is like because I have seen it up close and personal. But with each one of his films as of late, he's getting better and better and better. And yes, there are Tyler Perry critics out there. There are some people that don't like anything that he does, no matter how great it is. I would not be one of them. I loved this film, and this film, every race, creed, and color should watch this film, as it is literally colorblind for all women who have had to struggle to remain calm as life is crumbling apart around them. The film is called Straw. It is streaming on Netflix right now. Before I go, I wanted to get a little bit into the Tribeca Film Festival. I saw some wonderful films. I saw a document. Let me see if I can pull it up while I'm talking. I saw a film about Andy Kaufman. Now, if you don't know who Andy Kaufman is, I'm about to tell you. Andy Kaufman, well, I'll see if I can pull it up later. But anyway, Andy Kaufman, if you've ever seen the sitcom called Taxi, which is a really hilarious sitcom from the 70s. It was a big staple on the NBC lineup when Cheers and all those shows were on the air. Andy Kaufman played this character named Laka, and he didn't speak English. Well, Andy Kaufman did this thing where he did performance art comedy. He didn't get up and tell jokes. It wasn't observant comedy where you look at people in the audience and tell jokes based on the people that are in your show. He literally would do something like this. He had a record player and a glass of water, and he dressed in a suit with a shirt with an ascot on, and he stood there and he played the theme song to the Mighty Mouse cartoon, but only sang or lip sync to the part where it says, "Here I am to save the day." He only lip synced to that part. And that routine can be seen on the very first episode of Saturday Night Live when it aired. It's like iconic. Anywho, there is a documentary out about him called Andy Kaufman Is Me. We get to see the difference, like we got to see with the Pee Wee Herman documentary. We get to see the difference between who Andy Kaufman was and who Laka was, and how he struggled in life, personally and professionally. I saw another documentary, which is right in theme with the Pride Month. It was called I Was Born This Way. Now, when you hear the phrase born this way, oftentimes we think about Lady Gaga, right? She's synonymous with that phrase. Carl Bean was a Motown recording artist in the 70s and wrote a gay anthem called I Was Born This Way, inspiring Lady Gaga's Born This Way. Even she will tell you that. So I ain't talking about her behind her back, and I ain't throwing her under the bus. Even Lady Gaga, Miss Stephanie, will tell you that. But it tells the story of Carl Bean, how he came to be a recording artist, what his life was like before he got to that point, and what his life was like after that. He became an archbishop, one of the few Black men that was an archbishop in the United States. His tagline was, "Love is for everyone. It is not conducive to straight people. Love does not have a label. It doesn't. Love does not have a label." As Lin-Manuel said when he accepted his Tony for Hamilton, love is love is love. Point blank, period. He didn't say that. I said point blank, period. But you get my point. So I Was Born This Way. I saw that. I saw this other documentary, honey, that had me howling out loud. It was called Take the Money and Run. So basically, in 2021, the Kunstmuseum got more than it bargained for when this Danish artist named Jens Hanning borrowed $83,000 for a commissioned piece and then delivered an empty frame. I'm going to say that again. He borrowed $83K for a commissioned piece and then delivered the frame empty. That's why the film is called Take the Money and Run. Baby, woo, the twists and turns that took had me laughing out loud. It was great. There was another one that I saw at Tribeca called The End of Quiet. It's a meditative documentary that offers a glimpse into one of the few inhabited places on Earth where Wi-Fi and phone signals are not allowed. Can you imagine the world that we live in is totally reliant upon internet and Wi-Fi phone signals. Can you imagine being in a place where that doesn't happen? Like when it shuts down now, people have a nervous breakdown. Can you imagine purposefully making the choice to be in a place where that is the case? And it centers around 3 different families. One is a girl and her grandfather. Another one is a woman who came back to America from France and left her husband over there. It was beautifully spaced out. It was beautifully told. I enjoyed it immensely. Another one was called The Last Dive. There is this man, there's this, Terry is like a legendary figure in Baja, Mexico. And he is an American veteran who has spent decades living on and in the water. His life was transformed when he was diving, and he established a friendship with a 22-foot oceanic manta ray named Willie. And he went back down one time when he was a little younger and Willie wasn't there. So years later, he made a promise that his dying wish was to see Willie one last time. So now in his 80s, he goes on one last journey in this remote island in hopes of reuniting with Willie. Baby, I was in the ugly cry. I boohooed. It was so good. And FYI, but not really, I actually ran into a manta ray. I went diving in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. I went over there to do some sightseeing when my job over there was finished. And I'm like, I'm going to do something that scares me. And I went diving. I don't have any pictures. I don't have any photos. I don't have any video of any of this. But I went diving and I was down there playing with this manta ray. And it had this one little eye and it was looking at me. And there's something about being in the ocean where it is dead quiet. And in the Great Barrier Reef, I saw colors of fish colors I'd never even seen before. Like I can't even describe to you the colors that I saw. That's how unique they were. But I get Terry and his fascination with Willie and why he wanted to see Willie one last time. I almost think that the one that I saw, his name was Willie too. They had a name for him. I think Terry's manta ray was called Willie Wow, and I think ours was called Willie too, if memory serves me correctly. I have to look at my journals to see. 3 other ones that I saw that I don't have time to get into, but I think you guys should check out are The Sixth Borough, She Runs the World, We Are Guardians, and The Last Class. You'll be able to see my review on all of these. I'm going to pop them off today so that you can read them and be on the lookout for them when they get a release date. But I won't be able to say anything about The Last Class because all coverage on that is being held until June 23rd. So you guys, today is the last day for the Tribeca Film Festival, which has been going on for a couple of weeks, but it's the last day today. They did the last screenings this afternoon, so you're not going to be able to catch any of them, unfortunately, but I did want to tell you about it because the publicists for those films were gracious enough to let me or allow me to cover it being here in LA. Excuse me, even though I'm not in New York City. When I come back, I'm finally going to be able to talk about what? Elio. I'll talk about Elio. I'll be talking about Brad Pitt's new movie, F1. I'll be talking about Miss Dominique Thorne in Ironheart. Yes, we will. We'll be talking to the cast of Washington Black with my boy Sterling K. Brown, among other things. These are the things that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. They may not necessarily be coming up next week, but I wanted to make you aware of it. So again, let's recap what we talked about today. I want you guys to check out Straw. It is streaming on Netflix right now. Go to a theater near you and check out Prime Minister. If you have not seen The Birdcage, get your life and see some Birdcage. Also get on over to Disney Plus and check out the Beach Boys documentary. It is worth a gander. Brideheart will be in theaters later on this week on June 20th, if you can check that out. And find Big Daddy. I think Big Daddy may be streaming on Prime Video and Hulu as we speak. I'll be back next week with one more Pride Month highlight and talking about that. And it'll probably, in 2 weeks, I'll be back over at Fox 11 LA. I don't know what I'll be talking about when I get over there, but we'll figure it out. And make sure you check out Materialists, which is also in theaters now. And it is produced by by Magnolia Pictures. Thank you guys so much for always popping in and saying hello, whether it's in real time or whether you watch it after the fact and hear what I have to say. I really appreciate the fact that y'all even listen to my opinion and listen to what I say. I see many of you out in the street or catch you out and about, and you always tell me how much you appreciate what I say, how I say it, and how I get down. So much love to you and much appreciated. I kid you not. All right. So until the next time, y'all, love, peace, and hair grease. And I'll see you next week. Deuces.
Hold up. Wait a minute.